the most important part of the setup. Now we're going to set up your restaurant, the menus for your restaurant. In this case, I've logged in under the manager login again, so that I have access to all the restaurant settings. And again, I'm going to click on restaurant, and there are actually three sections to setting up your menu. The first one is optional, and it really depends on how you structure your menu, and that's meal times. If you have breakfast and lunch and dinner menus which are different, or even just two times the day where your menus are different, you'll need to set up meal times so that the items are only available for order during the times that they're available. To do that, you click on meal times, and you're going to click on new to create a new meal time. I recommend naming them something that makes sense to you. So in this case, I'm going to call my first one lunch, and I'm going to choose my location, which is my test kitchen. And then I'm going to choose what time lunch is going to run from. In this case, it's going to run from 11 a.m. until 2 p.m., so 1,400 hours. There we go. And I'm going to leave that enabled, and I'm just going to click Save and Close, and that'll take me back to the main page. I'm going to set up a second meal time, in this case, because I actually have more than one, and I'm going to call this one dinner. I'm again going to select my location, and here I'm going to offer this start time as my 2 o'clock. Yep. 1,400 on the button, and I'm going to set the end time to be 10 o'clock at night. Well, actually, I've got some delivery times that are 11, so I'm going to say 11 o'clock at night, 2,300 hours. And again, save and close. This is fully optional. If you don't have a differing menu that changes through the day, then you do not need to set up meal times at all. It's really only if you have multiple different menus that apply at different times of day. Next, we're going to set up the categories for our menu, and categories are really the same ways you would think about your menu. Here you're going to set up things like appetizers or hamburgers or mains, whatever it is you want to structure your menu, and that will be grouped that way on the customer menu. You have options here where you can actually give them names, which will show up on the main page when people are ordering. It'll allow them to sort and go directly to those sections. And you can also set a priority, which will define how those are going to be sorted. So if you take a look at these, I can actually say, okay, I want to see these in the order that the customers are going to see them. And so I'm going to click on priority until it sorts them by that way. And this is how they will show up on the customer menu. Appetizers first, soup and salad, homemade burger bar. Of course, these are going to be relevant to your own restaurant. When you go to set up a new one, again, you're just clicking new at the top. In this case, I'm going to give it a name. I'm going to create a new section, in this case for creperie. So I'm going to call it crepes. You can have them be a subcategory as well. So if you have groupings of mains, beef mains, chicken mains, fish mains, you can actually set up your main section and then have categories below that, which would allow that to be further grouped below. In this case, I don't have any of that, so I'm going to leave the parent to be blank. I'm just going to leave that alone. You don't need to do anything here with the slug. This will get auto-created by the site, so there's nothing to change there. You do need to select your location and specify that it does belong to your restaurant. In this case, I'm going to put it at a priority 10. I know this is going to be the last item on my list. If you take a look at the way things are sorted, you can always adjust this priority to make sure that they sort the way you want them to, and they show up the way you want them to on the customer's site. And I can give it a description, and I'm going to say that we make the best crepes in town. You don't need to enter a description, but if you do, it will show up under the category. You can also assign an image to the category. I think in most cases you probably are not going to need to do that, but if you do, very much like when you were setting up your restaurant, you're going to click on the image. It's going to pop up your media manager. You want to go to your folder for your restaurant, and then you can either select a picture that you've already uploaded or upload a new one and click attach. Great way for us to show this to you. You get an error if you haven't saved it already. So in this case, I actually have to save this first. Now that this has been created, now I can create the image. It's a funny looking picture of crepes, but what the heck. And I'm going to attach it. Okay? And if I want to get rid of the image, I just hover over it, click delete, and we're done. Once you're done with the setup, you're going to click save or save and close. That'll take you right back to the categories menu, and you can see that it now appears crepes. It's been given a priority number. It's sorted out to the end. So you're going to need to move those around as you go. Okay. You can also go back in and edit any of the ones that you already have, add pictures, change priorities. Just make sure that the numbers all align. It may actually start to move the numbers around on you because the numbers are assigned across the entire system. So you may actually want to pick yourself a priority list, that starts at 1,000 or starts at 2,000 or something that you find is a unique set that allows you to kind of order things the way you want to. The final thing we're going to do is actually go to start to create our menu itself. So you'll see all of the items that belong to your restaurant here. They'll include all of the categories, what prices you have them at. You have the opportunity to set stock limits if you do special items that have limited quantities. It'll tell you whether you're running specials on them, and it'll tell you whether those are available for order on the front end system. So you can very quickly see everything that's already set up here. We're going to set up a new item under my new crepes category, so I'm going to click on new. I'm going to call this my famous chicken asparagus, crepes. I'm going to price this guy like mains. I'm going to make it $24. I'm not too worried about the priority of the items and the way they show up, so I'm going to leave that blank. If you want to sort them in a specific order, again, much like the categories, you can assign priorities and set them up that way. In this case, I'm going to select the category that I've put in there of crepes. I'm going to set this to be only available at dinner time because I've set up a meal time on my system. If you don't have differing times, you can leave your meal time to be completely blank.
Yeah, maybe.
Then I'm going to go to my locations. I have to specify that it is for my restaurant. Minimum order quantity. If there are items that you have that you only sell as pairs or 4 or 6 at a time, you can set that here. And stock quantity would be where you're doing limited quantities of a specific item. So if you have a special that's running one night and you only have 50 of them available, you can limit that number. And once it is run out, by clicking the subtract stock item, it will no longer be available on the site for order. You can restrict an item to be available only for delivery or only for pickup. If you put none, it's going to be available for every order type that comes through the system. And finally, you can decide whether or not you want that item to be enabled or disabled and available on the site. And you can also add your description, which will give the customer a little bit more information about what's in this dish. This is going to be my chicken asparagus crepes stuffed with shredded chicken and ricotta with asparagus sauce, and that's all I'm going to set up on this one. Once you finish this page, I do recommend that you click save, and you'll find that you get another option that shows up. And the options tab is where we're going to select anything that the customer can customize within the order. So we're going to go there next. So on the options tab, we have a choice of either selecting existing options that we've already created from other menu items. You'll see here that I have a number of them that I've already set up in terms of side options, wing sauces, steak temperatures, things that might be options that we want to choose from. In this case, I'm actually going to say I want to create a new set of options. And so in this case, I'm going to say the options on this one are going to be customizations. They're going to be specific to my location. And I'm going to put a number of checkboxes here and allow, so there's 4 types that you can choose. A radio box would allow a customer to choose one and only one option. A checkbox allows them to select multiple options. Select will allow them to select from a list. Again, they're going to get one option. And quantity would be just how many of them do you want. In this case, I'm going to choose a checkbox, and I'm going to put some options on here. So number 1, I'm going to say I don't like asparagus, so I'm going to say you can choose to have no asparagus. And the option price is going to be 0 because, of course, it's free to take that off. I'm also going to add a second option here where I can add baked potato. In this case, I'm going to charge $5 for that add-on. And I can add as many of these options as I want. When a customer goes to add this item to the cart, they will be presented with another window that allows them to choose the customizations they'd like before they actually add it to their cart for order, much like any of the other systems. And I'm going to click Save. And now that option is going to be available to me here, and I can actually quickly type in it what I'm looking for, customizations, and we're done. And I'm going to add that to menu, and now it's available, and you can see which options are specified on this. When I click on this here, I now have the option to say you're required to choose one of these options. In this case, it wouldn't make any sense to make this required, but I can make it required. I can also choose, for example, if I'm doing pizza and you've got a maximum of 3 free toppings, I may have a very long list of items that are available, but I can choose a max selected of 3, and that means that they can only choose 3 of those items. Otherwise, they're going to have to choose perhaps from another set of options where you have add-on prices attached to them. And you just save any of your changes that you've got, and you're back to your main page. The Specials tab would be where you're going to set up any kind of specials or promotions that you want to run on these items. You can run specials that are a fixed amount, so X dollars off on a specific period, or you can do a percentage off. And in this case, not X dollars off, but what is the special price or a percentage discount. So in this case, I have my price at set what it is. I'm going to say that actually on Tuesdays, I'm going to offer this item for $10, and it's valid forever. If it's all the time, you're offering a special. It's valid for a period if you're offering it for a specific period of time. So for example, a Super Bowl special where it's available only on a specific day, you can set it up and have it done. In this case, I'm going to say it's recurring every single Tuesday. And in this case, I'm going to say it's available from midnight until the very end of the day, because that's the easiest way to do it. And I'm going to enable that special, and I'm going to click Save again. Now if I go back to my menu items, you'll be able to see that I've got my new one here. I've got chicken asparagus crepes. It fits into the crepes category, priced at $24, and it has a special that's active so you can very quickly see what's there. In any of these screens, you're also able to filter. So you're able to say, just show me the items that belong in my burger bar category, and it will filter those down. Or you can say view all, you can filter by enabled, disabled, or you could search for a specific item if you can't find it in your list. If you've got a larger menu, you can quickly search that way. And if you want to clear that, just hit clear, and we're back to our entire list. And I can close those filters off anytime I want. All of these lists you can also go through and you can capture by sort and move around as you want to just by clicking on these headings at the top. So you can sort by price, you can sort by category, and work your way through till you get your entire menu set up. As always, if you have any troubles getting your menu set up, you can always reach out to us. The details are in the description below, and we look forward to seeing your menu on Dine Niagara.